A7RV 60 megapixels with the 51.2 G Master and the Legend Pentax 6.7 with the 105 2.4 lens. I mean, just look at the size of this thing. Massive mirror box, beautiful ground glass. This is the Legend lens that comes with this camera that everybody wants to shoot with. So the 105 2.4 equivalent, just cut that in half. It's basically a 51.2. So what we're gonna do is spend the sunset shooting these guys side by side. We're gonna shoot Kelly, my wife, a little bit, some landscapes. I'm gonna try to get variety for you guys. We only have 10 shots on a roll of Portra 400 for you with this guy, shooting 120 film. So why do we even care about this? Well, for me, I love film. And everything I shoot, both photo and video and edit, I'm trying to make things look and feel like film. That's just what I like, that's what I prefer. And I'm a firm believer that I think the majority of people, whether they know it or not, prefer film. The highlight roll off, things just feeling and looking natural. It just is the gold standard. People have been asking for a long time, does sensor size matter? Can you get a shallower depth of field on a medium format camera? Super 35, full frame? And today we're gonna answer that question finally. And I haven't shot these side by side, so I'm actually excited to see firsthand what the answer is. I'm gonna be shooting most everything close to wide open, if not wide open, because I'm most interested in comparing full frame to medium format from a depth of field standpoint. We will look at resolution, we will notice tonality, stuff like that. But again, I'm really thinking about the look, the shallow depth of field look. Does 6.7 look any different than full frame when you compare equivalents? So I have a roll of Portra 400 in the Pentax 6.7, and I'm gonna be rating it at 320. And I am set at 320 ISO on the A7R5. And right now I'm at 1.2, and my shutter speed's gonna be wherever it lands. The fastest shutter speed on the Pentax 6.7 is 1,000. So we're waiting for the sun to go down a little bit. So I've been thinking about camera comparisons and depth of field comparisons for a while, but how this most recently came about and sparked my interest was I was taking pictures of a friend's Porsche on the 51.2 G Master, and I cropped them 6.7 to look like medium format, and they really did. That shallow depth of field really did. And it made me rethink, like, can I do this comparison? Should I do this comparison? Well, here we are. So we're walking around Santa Cruz, that Steamer Lane surf break area, and I'm being super picky. I know I only have 10 shots on this roll of 6.7, on this roll of 120, Portra 400. So I'm being picky. We've got 2 shots of Kelly. One's more of a closer portrait. And then I just took one of a building. I don't want to give you 10 portraits. I don't want to give you 10 shots of waves. I want to give you a mix, and I also want to wait for the light to get even better. Three, two, one. All right, guys, golden hour is looking really good. We're about to jump onto the rock here at Steamer Lane in Santa Cruz, famous surf spot. And I've only got a couple more shots left, so I'm saving them for the money shot here. Hopefully we get some golden hour rays with a nice wave. We'll see what I get. Here's a wave. Try to get this. guys, believe it or not, I'm at my buddy Dave Herring's house, and he's actually hands-on developing this right for me for that instant gratification. So we're gonna get that development process going, and we'll see you on the computer.
We got negatives.
Hey, what's up guys? Here I am back at my desk finally for what you've all been waiting for, the comparison side-by-sides between these two systems, the Pentax 6.7 with the 105 2.4 and the 50 1.2 G Master taken on the A7RV. Dave Herring helped out so much just by developing these for me, but he used an A7RV to scan them. So what's going to be really cool about resolution here is that not only are we going to have the A7RV with 60 megapixels on the digital images, but the scanning process for the film is almost as good as it gets and a beautiful direct comparison. But I'm not going to show you, for example, here the Pentax 6.7 shot and here the Sony G Master shot without a little love from VeryGoodPresets. Dave Herring has made this Portra 400 preset that is absolutely amazing. I just tweaked it ever so slightly just to match this specific scan. Every scan is different, every film is different. There are so many variables. Also gonna crop this to be 4:5, which is what the 6.7 is, and we'll try to match these crops as best as possible and rip right through these. Going back and forth, here's the 50 1.2 and the Pentax 6.7. I think if we hit C, we can compare these. Yeah, so if we want to zoom in, I've made sure that the sharpening on the Sony, which is on the right, is turned all the way down, because as you can see, even on the Sony A7R5 scan, we don't have as much sharpening. I mean, right off the bat, this is kind of the story of the whole roll. Yes, there are minor nuances, but for the most part, I don't know, 99% the same. It's pretty incredible that this is the actual fact here. All right, so here's the next shot. Again, Pentax Portra 400 on the left and Sony on the right. Minor nuances, especially in the skin, the color. What's interesting, its film is getting this blue cast. Digital is just clean. We're looking at depth of field, right? So the first thing is I see this bokeh up here and I'm comparing it to this up here. Incredibly close. Look how soft this is here. Look how soft this is here. If you just step back and look at them, they're virtually identical. 105 is much different than the G Master, right? I don't know how many decades they are apart, but one's a lot older than the other, and so it's interesting to see what's going on up here that may not be going on up here. And again, if we want to zoom in, we could just add a little bit more grain, pull the texture down on this Sony file, and it would be pretty much a match. This is one of the hardest photos to pick and choose. I mean, I have to try and see what bokeh is bigger back here, but for the most part, they're identical. If we love the look of film, if we love the look of medium format, if we love the look of that Pentax 6.7, I'm confident that I can get the same results using this Sony system, especially with very good presets, specifically with the 51.2 G Master. A trained eye can pick apart that last 1 to 5% of this image and their differences, but upon quick glance, or if you were only looking at one image, you wouldn't be able to tell. I'm pleased with the Portra 400 image, and then I'm just, again, so thankful to Dave and Very Good Presets that I'm able to accomplish what I can on the right digitally. All right, so the next shot is just trying to get you variation, trying to, see the differences. I mean, these are almost identical. Getting away from depth of field for a second, the nuances of film, the development process, the scanning process, the temperatures, there's so many variants. So the differences between these shadows and these highlights versus these shadows and these highlights, and then compare that to the next image, to the next image, to the next image, you'll see as we go through this roll, it's not consistent in film. And that's the beauty, but again, you might only be able to get it to be 95% there. What's up, guys? I just want to stop and say thanks for watching. If you like videos like this, would you consider giving the video a thumbs up? And would you consider subscribing to the channel? It'll help me make more videos like this in the future. I want to give you something special. Down below in the description is going to be a Dropbox link with the original scans from this video and my final exports from the Sony files, so you can compare them for yourself on your own system. Let's jump back into it. So this is cool, again, variation. I tried to focus on the edge of this ice plant here. Here's the beauty of film right here. These greens, this halation, this softness, there's definitely something special about it. But again, if we look down in here, yeah, that looks a little bit more out of focus than this. I tried to stand in the same place every time, but there's definitely, 6 to 12 inches of variation for every shot. But that's okay. So this is the one shot that I just totally missed focus on the Pentax. I don't know why, I don't know how. The viewfinder and the ground glass are massive. I don't know what happened. It looked like I focused short about 2 or 3 feet, but obviously the Sony nailed focus on Kelly here. So this one doesn't really do much for a comparison, but I was trying to get this big foreground element, as you can see here. Sony with the G Master on the right. As far as depth of field is concerned, I mean, this might be a little bit more out of focus. Again, there's a variation of 6 to 12 inches where I was standing, but if this is 1 to 5% more out of focus because the Pentax lens is not quite a 50, but more like a 52.5, it's that much more of a longer lens, so that might be why. I mean, again, just looking at this blindly, so this is the Sony on the right, and it looks more out of focus here in the foreground than the Pentax. I'm not too sure why. It looks like I nailed focus on both of them. Maybe the focus on the Pentax is a little closer, which would mean the foreground would be more in focus. I could have been focused more on this wave instead of this rock here. Finally, this image posed the biggest challenge for just matching film to digital. It's just so complex and difficult, but what we're here for is this, right? Which one is shallower? I'm gonna say the Pentax on the left is shallower than the Sony on the right. And again, is that because it's a 52.5 equivalent and not a 50? I don't know. The whole point is that it's very, very close. Look at this highlight roll off over here. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So the point is that it's close. Closer than I thought. I wanted it to be this close, but I didn't realize how close it was gonna actually be. Massive thanks to Very Good Presets for making this comparison, and just the fact that we're emulating Portra 400 and other films that he has on there so easily. I've been looking for something like this for years, and we finally have it. I hope this helps in any decision making you're trying to do, whether you're trying to shoot 6.7 or digital and make your stuff look like film. Do me a huge favor, show some love, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.